Hello and welcome to the final Korra vlog, and most likely the most viewed one that we're going to do.
Two very important people, I think, came out and confessed their love. Mako and Bolin, in the middle of that machine, finally said they love each other.
I know, I mean, I thought that was really amazing, and it's like, if only there was like two. You know,
and I gotta say, Korra and Asami, BFFs forever.
I know, I thought that was very encouraging. Yeah, I mean, that's just...
Yeah.
Well, friends do that all the time, right? They just take a little vacay together, and, you
I don't know
know
what the big deal is. I hold hands with you all the time.
All the time? I just assumed they were friends.
We skip. We actually skip together.
And nobody gives us weird looks at all.
Well, because we don't do that in public, but, you know.
No, but inside, which is even more normal.
In the privacy of our own home, where we come to play with our toys.
Now that's gonna take a whole new meaning. So, okay, so you know, like, most of this vlog is just gonna be talking about, like, half a minute of the episode. So, well, let's just go over the quick overview of it in general. I mean, honestly, this is a good finale. It especially the first half. It's pretty much just all taking down this giant robot, which is so.
I keep thinking of Kentucky Fried Movie now. Giant robots. Giant robot.
Which, you know, on the one hand, I'm thinking like season 2 was kind of like you have big things battling each other, but I like the idea they're still small. They're trying to get inside this thing. It is very anime. I mean, like the mechas and stuff like that. I mean, it's very Big O-ish and stuff like that.
I kept joking, are they going to build, like, I kept thinking of Evangelion. I was like, is there going to be a new Republic City 3 or something, like Tokyo 3?
So the first half of this is just battling this machine. It's wonderfully done. I mean, it just, Kuvera's in there controlling it, trying to swat at them like flies and stuff like that. And people try to make sacrifices. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Go, go. But then that person comes back. You've
Prince
seen all
Wu
that
sings.
stuff.
I could have done without that, actually.
Yeah, got a little old, but he's still doing some good, so whatever.
When did he make friends with the honey badgers? Do honey badgers not care? Do they just not give a shit? Like,
No. It's like, how did he control them to come around the other end? Because moving forward, I can see, because it's like they would want to almost get away from the voice or something.
Maybe they were trying to kill him to stop his singing, and they missed.
Maybe, I don't know, but regardless. Kuvera's destroyed, or stopped, I should say, and then Korra, kind of like a dummy when she has her down on the ground. I mean, clearly she had, like, metal bend some handcuffs or something, and she's like, you know, you've lost Kuvera, and she's like, yeah, knocks her out, goes, gets the gun, just like, take you all out, bitches, but Korra
But then they wouldn't have been able to create a new spirit portal.
Yes, so Korra, through whatever avatar
come on,
magic.
One woman with a giant gun that big, let's admit it, that was kind of hot. She's just like, it's just the most ridiculous, over the top. It's like this little tiny woman like next to this trigger, and this gun's like the size of the Empire State Building.
Well, and then just a little Korra there at the end of it, like this with this guy. It was like a Looney Tunes cartoon,
It was a Roadrunner cartoon.
So, but yeah, Korra uses her powers to.
I wanted Korra to bust out a little tiny umbrella and be like,
so opens up the spirit world, this new spirit portal. Julie and Varric
do the thing.
Yeah, do the thing.
I put that in my Facebook. Somebody's like, you know, you need context for that. I was like, I know exactly what I did.
If you don't get it, you don't deserve to get it. So they tie the knot. And at the very end, everything seems to be okay, everyone's cool, and Korra and Asami say they need a vacation. They decide to go to the spirit world, holding hands, looking in each other's eyes, and it ends right there. That little heart closes in on them. It's just so nice. Okay, so for me, there's gotta be two ways to come at this, and I usually hate doing that, like, we have to look at it two ways, but there really is, in my opinion, for this. Because on the one hand, it's like, if I'm right, I think this is like the first bisexual character, main lead, in a kid's show ever. I don't know if they've done that. They've had side characters.
I don't think they were bisexual the whole time. I think Mako turned them. Let's be honest here. Mako was so bland.
I'm talking about Korra!
That, yeah.
Oh, you thought he turned her.
Yeah, he.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mako turned the two of them. They both dated him.
That is true.
You notice they both dated. This is like George Costanza when his girlfriend becomes lesbian after dating.
Yeah, you gotta wonder what's going through his mind now. Like, wow, I turned two women lesbian.
Okay, well, I think I need to move out of town and rethink my life for a while.
I never thought about that.
Poor Mako. In the end, it's still all about poor Mako.
So, all right. So on the one hand, yeah, this is a huge step, and anyone that reads like my Facebook and stuff like that knows I'm very pro gay rights, and I hate the fact
and
that
by
like,
huge step we mean it's about all you're gonna get out of a show on Nickelodeon.
But the fact they did it all.
You know the Japanese are watching this like, and where's the tentacles? like that's it? And like, we did this shit on Sailor Moon 20 years ago. What are you... Oh, cute little Americans.
So everyone's talking about it. It's like this huge thing. Like everyone's like, "Oh, best finale ever! Unbelievable!"
Except for the people that have a problem with it.
Well, yeah, and
there's a few. I've seen the occasional comment on my Facebook that's like, "Fucking stupid."
Well, no, okay, so
settle down.
No, the funny thing about it is that because, like, I mean, well. I'm trying to think what angle to come at it because it is a huge step. It is really great, and it's wonderful to see this happen. I hate the fact that we live in a time where it's like this is a big deal. Like, oh my god, can you believe a show did that? Well, like you said, Sailor Moon's done this like 20, maybe even more years ago.
Every year I see at least one lesbian anime.
Yeah, and Sailor Moon, I mean, right, is a kid
normally
show
set in
Japan,
high school.
Right? Yeah, well, I was gonna say, and Sailor Moon is a kid show in Japan, right? I mean, isn't it like seen kind of like adults can watch it too, but it is seen primarily as like a kid show.
Yeah, I don't know. I never watched Sailor Moon in Japan. The general feeling I get is that it's a teen show.
Okay, so but definitely for younger audiences and stuff like that.
This is kind of a teen show, I think, even though it's running on Nickelodeon.
And there's definitely been like I've heard about like other shows where it's like there's side characters that are like gay or bisexual or something like that. But I've never seen a main character in a show. And definitely not a Nickelodeon show.
They'll do cousins and sisters in Japan. They'll just do anything.
No, I'm talking about like in America. Like
in America. Oh no, in America we got all sorts of hang-ups. So.
Yeah, but
some healthy. I think the not doing your sister hang-up, despite twincest on Gravity Falls, is healthy. Some
anyone that doesn't watch the Gravity Falls vlogs is gonna be like, what the fuck was Rob talking about?
Look up Gravity Falls and twincest, you'll find out.
Have some Taco Bell with you. But yeah, okay. So all of that is wonderful. All of that is fantastic. But at the same time, I'm looking at this, and the first thing that pops in my head is this felt like a gimmick for a good cause. Because outside of a couple conversations that they had together, which you called, you're like, did they seem
I can't believe I called this at the beginning of season 3.
No, and there's even I do remember there's one point where Asami even kind of says, I forget the exact line, but something along the lines of like, she's kind of coming out a bit, but not directly saying it. But my thought was, well, okay, I mean, that might be something, but I mean, like, I don't think they're going to go all the way with it because they're not doing it, they're not developing it, they're not going into it, and then at the end... Can't. Well, exactly. That is.
It
part
really
of it
just
too.
comes down to that. We can be like, oh, it's all gimmicky, and then they just brought out like it was only subtle hints that brought out the last second. What are you gonna let the network with the talking sponge? You're gonna run it on that? No, they're not gonna freaking let you.
Well, and that's what I was gonna get to. So on the one hand, I'm like, well, this is great that it happens, and we have this main character. But from a storytelling perspective, just imagine for a minute, everything else is the same. Everything. About these characters, everything happens exactly the same. Make Asami a guy. And story-wise, ask yourself if this makes any sense. It's not bad, there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, I'm like, where did that come from? But like, this is the last image of the show we ever see. And it's like, oh no, don't you know it was about these two coming together? It was? And don't get me wrong, there's definitely like, I want to see more of this. Like, if they do like what they do with Zuko's mom, because that was unanswered, and they do it in the comics,
was it about those two coming together the whole series? No. Is it probably the logical last final step? If you want those two to be in love, if you want your main character is if you want your main character to somehow end in love, which is its own great debate, because now even though it's a lesbian story, you could argue like, oh, so now she needs a woman to be happy. Like,
But
you know,
yeah,
then that is the only
that.
logical step left. She's gone through everyone else. Bolin's got what's her face? It's early in the morning. I'm just telling you now. Like, we're like the day before.
To be fair, we have
Christmas.
always forgotten her name.
Yeah.
That poor character. The only reason I even remember Asami is because it's all over the internet.
It began with an M. That person. Anyway, everybody's got somebody, and Varric has
Mako
Julie.
doesn't, unless you count the.
But that's the
King.
thing. They went through Mako. Mako's used goods. He's baggage. He's like that chewed piece of gum you leave under the seat. So that pretty much leaves only those two.
But no, but
as main characters.
Okay, but
if you are going into this thinking, well, Korra has to be in love with somebody.
But that's exactly what you said. The
so
idea
it makes
that
logical
she has
sense.
No, the idea she has to be in love with somebody. It's like I don't care if people are in love with anybody. That's fine. But it's like it seems so out of nowhere and out of the blue. And if this happened middle season or something, that'd be fine. But like you said, and I tend to agree with, they probably wouldn't be able to get away with that. So to me, this is sort of like
they're pigeonholed by the sponge.
No, see,
You know,
to
the
me,
sponge demands certain things, and not doing a lesbian love story, I'm sure, was one of them. Like, I'm sure if they wanted to do a lesbian, like literally from the beginning, we're gonna develop this out, and they're gonna be really, truly in love, and you're gonna see all of this. I'm sure the sponge would be like, no! No! And then, like, beat them to death. So, it's like the 1963 Haunting. We love that movie. How ridiculous is that movie from a modern perspective? Like, with the fact that the lesbian subtext is so buried to the point that it's like, you know, just come out and say it. Like, but that's the way it worked back in the olden days.
No, but
that's
even
movies.
that,
Now
but
we're
even
talking kids'
that,
cartoons.
even that is a little. That still works in the context of the story, though, because in my opinion, that still works to they're in a place, they're scared, and she doesn't know if they're actually hugging together like they're afraid, or she's even coming on to her, and that makes her more, you know, scared because she's not gay. So that just adds another level of awkwardness and uncomfortableness for the main character, who's already pretty crazy.
We should have put our main characters in a haunted house.
Yes! But no, I say it's kind of like, let's say they do the last X-Men movie, and there's Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, whatever, everything's done, and they defeat everybody, and he looks at Storm and says, let's take a vacation together, and she says, okay, and they kiss. It's like, there's nothing wrong with it or anything, but it's like, where'd that come from?
But there was no reason you couldn't have built that romance up from the beginning. There is here.
But that's, okay, but
The
that's
sponge,
what I mean.
Doug, the sponge won't
No,
let
but
you.
that's what I mean. Ethically, I think it's a big step. Storytelling-wise,
Okay,
I
get
saw
what
it
you're
as
saying.
a gimmick for a good reason.
I get what you're saying, and this is because I had the same thing. I feel exactly the same way, which is it didn't serve too much for the main plot. There were hints dropped, and bravo to them for the hints. I picked up on it. So, I mean, clearly they had some concept. I'm not convinced they knew season 1 they were doing this.
No,
I'm convinced that somewhere probably in the middle of writing season 2, they started to hatch this idea in their head, and I'm sure that they were just like, there's no way Nick's gonna go for this. Are you freaking kidding me? We gotta somehow be subtle and pull this out at the last second before they're just force Nick's hand and be like, okay, don't run the finale. See what the fans say then.
Well, and the funny thing too is like,
So-
yeah, with the gimmick, it's kind of like all the people that are against it. I just love the idea. Yeah, this show's fun, it's cool, and everything. And just like, oh, she was bi, bitches. Like, just all of a sudden, just like, you were watching a bi character the whole time. So,
Yeah, so that's the thing. On the one hand, yes, I would have liked to have seen a real lesbian love story. This was a puppy love lesbian love story. Like, oh, it's cute.
and
They're
kind of
like
out of
BFFs.
nowhere, you know, like, okay, not totally out of nowhere because there were hints.
So that is the actual problem with the story. I agree with you. Outside of not doing it at all, and it seems clear they wanted to do it, what is your other option? You don't have one.
Oh no, I'm not saying I necessarily
that's
do.
That's the problem.
No,
That's
honestly,
the double-edged sword with
I'm amazed this happened at all.
Yeah.
And like I said, I hate the fact that I had to be amazed by that, but I'm glad that it did happen. It didn't like I said, it didn't ruin anything. It's not like, oh, this finale is now.
I'm just saying, I think they had more
sense.
chemistry than Mako and Korra did to begin with. Or Korra and Asami.
And, you know, and it is funny
But
because-
maybe that again is all on Mako. Poor Mako.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, you brought up, like, hey, maybe there's a little something. You were doing kind of as a joke. It's like, there definitely was one scene. I wish I remember what episode.
Oh, no, I
and you didn't bring it
legitimately
up.
believed it. I didn't think they were going to go all out with it. I think they wanted to. I never thought in a
There
million
definitely
years
was
they were
a
going
line.
to state it.
And I can't remember what it was, but there was definitely a line where Asami says something that has a very, like, I can't see that being taken any other way than, she's a lesbian, kind of thing. But like I said, I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, like we said, it would have been nice to see it developed more, but it's like,
But
we
we
decided to
live
take this show to make this big step.
We live in
and-
21st century in America. We live in 21st century America, and apparently this is as good as we can get. So.
Yeah, so I hope it opens up more. I hope more is done with this, and there can be, gay, bi,
You don't even need the
transsexual, all that
tentacles
stuff.
like in Japan.
I mean,
you
it's
can do
like
it tentacle free even.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that would be nice. I mean, a little. I just
Yeah, you
outed
like
something
your seafood,
terrible
I
about
get it.
myself. So anyway, but no, it's one of those things where it's like I really hope this opens up a lot. And it's on the one hand, I'm really happy people are like, "Isn't this incredible? Wasn't that a phenomenal finale?" But you know what I mean? It's like I'm kind of like, well, no, okay,
There's going to be a group of people like us, and we're going to be a small group who are going to be. This was not the greatest thing on the planet because they didn't do enough. But we realized the reason why they didn't do enough, so I'm not blaming them for that.
Yeah,
but,
and it's still
we
a good
could have had way
finale.
more. And then there's also the group that's just going to be like, I can't believe they, frickin' did that. That's so stupid, and like, who cares if they're, and I'm like, I don't think you realize, this subset of people, what a big deal this actually is. Some people are just like, who cares? Don't even talk about it. I'm like, no, this is actually legitimately a really big deal. And the other people that are just like, this is the greatest thing in the world, I'm like, no, we could have gotten a lot more, actually, but Nickelodeon, there's no way in hell they would have let it happen.
Yeah,
So
I think I used to be one of those people that was kind of like, well, if you are great, if you're not great, who cares kind of thing. So I would originally kind of be on that side. But again, just after seeing, it's like that prejudice is still out there, man. It's like, I wish I could say, no, it's not. And you kind of think to yourself, well, I don't act this way, so clearly nobody else acts this way because I'm the representation of
somebody
most
on my
people.
Facebook was like, oh my god, I can't believe that now I have to look forward to my kids having to watch like ball torture and BDSM in their cartoons. I was like, hell yeah. I'm like,
first of all-
better than SpongeBob. Are you kidding
Well,
me?
first of all, because those two things go so hand in
I
hand.
know, I like a true love story, and freaking like fetishism, obviously.
Like, all the gay people I know, as soon as I find out they're gay, I'm like, okay, so where's the ball gag? Oh, right here in my pocket.
and the jokes on you people, because they won't need to watch in their cartoons. They can just write about it on the internet. Fan fiction. Seriously, everybody who freaks out with this, I can't believe they're gonna fifth in a kid's cartoon. Kids cartoon, can you believe it? I'm like, they can go online and create their own more horrific worlds where Dipper goes to Taco Bell.
I can't believe we're in a world where two women love each other. Now go back to your divorced parents. That takes up whatever, like 60, 80% of marriages nowadays.
That's it, Dad. Drink another scotch.
So,
Screw you two women who are in love.
so
Oh, hey, look, Mom's popping the Oxycontin again. That's true love. But yeah, so that's where I'm coming from. I'm like, it is both not the biggest deal in the world story-wise, because I've seen Japanese animes that do this, way more over the top than this, but at the same time, it is really a big deal. And I think they probably had this planned out from about the middle of season 2.
I would say 3. I wouldn't say
3,
2.
maybe 3. It depends how far ahead they're writing these, but it just makes me laugh because I think the thing that makes me laugh the most is all the people who are against shipping these characters. Why does everybody have to ship? Why can't they just imagine that two characters?
That's one of the
are
reasons
friends?
I didn't talk
Why
about,
do they-
because everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, perv!" Like that's
Why
what
do
all
you
you
have to
men
do-
want. It's
and
like
the funny thing is, it's almost like the creators read this and are just like, oh, let's fuck with these guys. let's troll all of these, and like it makes me laugh because like all the people who were so upset about the shipping vanished from my public Facebook overnight. I hadn't seen anything from them. I am just like, where did they go? They were so upset. So that just kills me.
Well, and
I'm like, it's like they looked at it and they're just like, oh, so. Let's see, what do we got going on here? Well, we know where this love story's going. Everybody wants these two characters put together. Man, that's gonna create a giant uproar. You know what? I got it! We'll ship ourselves! Let's do it!
Well, and the
I love it. It's almost trolling. They may be trolling. I don't know. Trolling for a good cause or maybe
trolling for a good cause.
But it's just like, yeah, I feel like the audience just like half the audience that was against this whole thing just totally got trolled, and for the rest, it was just like we made their fanfic dreams come true.
Well, and what are they gonna say? Like, I'm against the no, can't really. Like, yeah, you're kind of outed, but not sure as what in that case. So we got that all said, out of the way. Let's talk about the rest of it.
Did anything else happen? I forget.
No, I mean,
I just kept rewinding that last 10 seconds again and again and again. I've got it out of loop now on my actually, the funny thing is, going into that wonderful 10 seconds I've seen now for 3 hours straight, the rest of the episode I thought was really, really solid.
It was a good finale.
The thing I appreciated most was the teamwork. That took everybody. Though I will say, I watched it with my wife, and I turned to her in the middle of it, and I said, "Where's Mako?" Like, I noticed for a while there were all these people flying. I was like, "What happened to Mako?" And then he shows up with Bolin on the inside there, and my wife's like, "There he is!" And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
No, he had a good.
No, he sacrificed.
And that was a good sacrifice. Yeah. By having Bolin come back as well to
very return of the Jedi. Let's go into the Death Star, blow it up from its evil heart out.
The animation is great. I love
the water balloon. They're the paint balloons. I thought was the second he's like, "Aha, paint!" I was like, "I got it. I know what they're doing." So I thought that was a great idea.
I also like that she had a means of getting rid of that, whatever, the little window washer or whatever that was.
Damn it, windshield wipers. She thought of everything.
So, no, I thought it was, like I said, it seemed to get bigger and bigger. And
oh,
it's like,
man, redemption for Asami's dad.
Yes. Oh God. You know, when he came in,
great scene.
No, when he came in, like I said, I love a show that can make me gasp, and I did actually go, oh, like in a good way, like, oh, it's so good to see him again. And it's like, now, of course, immediately after he came back and we're getting along, I'm like, Dad, you are so gone. You know, but still,
we will ride together, but please paint the target on my head. Yeah, no, I thought that was a great scene. I do have to say this though, like, I like the technology is kind of cool. It's, to me, it got kind of steampunkish in this episode in particular. It's always been kind of steampunk, but in this one, like, those hummingbird craft were very steampunk, but it made me laugh because I'm just like, yes, this is a brilliant scientific idea. Let's expend so much effing energy to make a couple of wings go... I'm like, this makes no sense.
There's got to be other ways around.
But I looked at it and I'm like, it looks really cool. Yeah. It doesn't really make any sense, but... Yeah, I'm like, or how about a jet engine? Like,
now, you want to know the really funny thing? Before the Korra and Asami thing, I was really debating whether or not I wanted to see Varric and Julie together. Because I saw it and it's like, okay, it's not like you can't see it happen, but on the other hand, I was sort of like, was this more of a partnership? I mean, they did have, like, a lot in common. Obviously, they worked with each other, but it's like, if it is, it's kind of an abusive relationship. I mean, he comes around... But it's like, is that really the best basis?
The funny thing is, for everybody who's saying, like, Korra and Asami felt forced, I probably felt the Julie and Varric thing felt a little more forced, just because I got the impression throughout the entire series that both of them were asexual beings. Like, I wasn't
getting... Yeah, that is kind of true. You never associate romance with them, really.
It was like two plants interacting. I never saw any real romance. Like,
yeah, so I was...
Julie, recently, they were kind of kicking it in, but I'm like... Yeah, I guess I just look at it like, why does she... I get why she would be impressed by his idiot savant genius, or maybe want to be his partner, but I was like, why does she love him?
The only thing I can figure is, like, she sees, like, quote-unquote, the good in him, because he does come around and stuff like that, but, yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
And she did take him calluses and all.
I will say, if it was, not that there's no comedy, there clearly is, but, like, that wedding... Like, they show the wedding in great detail, and I'm thinking, like, okay, no, they're meant to show, like, they really love this. Is not just a joke. Like, they're legitimately in love. And there's a bunch of jokes thrown in, but it's supposed to be, like, a real thing. So I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I guess. Like, I'm not anti that, but at the same time, I was like, does it...
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting that now that the creators have, like, confirmed that this is real, Korrasami, Now the fanfic writers are going to have to ship something else. So they're going to try to ship maybe Julie
and Korra
and make it this big love triangle, and like this soap opera and
Love Square or whatever.
love dodecagons. Everybody gets involved by the end.
So yeah, and like I said, I can't get too angry at this romance coming out of nowhere and not seeing it develop more, because they dicked us around with Zuko's mom, and they eventually came around the comics and stuff. So it's I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, yeah, I'd like to see these two go on an adventure together, develop more, and it's obviously not doing any more shows. So it's yeah, get working on that comic. It's I'm not against a relationship with them. I very much like to see it, but I like to see it developed. I like to see it really put together.
And redemption for Bolin. This was a great Bolin episode. He the lava sucking the robot into the.
I like this and the last season. I thought were both great. They were good Bolin seasons, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought he really came through.
Bolin had a lot of great moments, getting the people out, saving Mako at the end. I'm just good. Bolin finally gets his dues.
Yeah, he really balances out. He's still funny, but he
Lava
really
Benders represent.
Through. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think what else. I mean, it's okay,
I'll tell you what I like. I like the fact that the only way Korra goes into the Avatar state this time around is to save a life and not take it.
Yeah, actually, I like that too, because I was sort of saying, what? There's a couple times she could go into the Avatar state, why doesn't she?
She
and
only
I think
does it to save Kuvira's life.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, the talk bringing Kuvira around, it's come on, you got mommy issues and identity issues. And she's all right. And she's but I turn myself in, and nobody's okay, well, justice is served. It's you're so fucking gonna pay.
I'll fucking kill you.
Which, I mean, it's understandable. I mean,
yeah, it was a little weird. Yeah, that was a little weird.
The fact she turned over so quickly, I was kind of I don't know, would Hitler turn over so quickly with Hussein?
I'm sorry, I was just having some fun.
I was gonna say with Hussein, but I guess he did. As soon as they had the guns on him and they found him, he's just I'm willing to compromise. I'm willing to negotiate.
We know Hitler wouldn't have changed that fast. He would just kill himself. That's what he did.
So. Asami Kuvira obviously took the higher road, I guess.
You can't think a joke.
World War II, just a big joke.
He's very funny.
Too soon. So, a really good finale. I think we pretty much gone into as much detail as we can about the
another
the
spirit
ending.
portal. I did love Tenzin's observation. It's Korra, you've done more in 4 seasons of the show than Aang did in his entire life. We now got
that's actually a totally legit
portals active, and and everybody's oh, she's not as good as Aang. I'm well, she got a lot more accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, let's really look at what she did for the world. I mean, it's
I know, I get
Aang
it.
saved it, fair enough, but
people are just saved it from the fire. That's fine. She stopped 4 villains.
Yeah,
Aang got 1.
Yeah, well, and it's okay. Granted, it was a big one. It was the world, but it's there
was Azula and her circus troupe, but it was still mostly 1.
No, but it's with Korra, it's when he said that, I'm yeah, it's a really good point. I think of all the portals that open up, the spirit world and the human world.
And Aang had to do it with inside information from the villain's own kid. So
I thought that was a very legit point. I mean, it's she's not as good. It's
well, no fucking turtles.
What?
The turtle.
Oh, I was thinking of Ninja Turtles for some reason. I'm it's a lion turtle, Rob. You have to be more clear. I know they all look
fucking lion turtles. Lurtles. It's early in the morning. I need coffee.
So, okay, we're gonna go get some coffee. That is the last Korra vlog. As far as we know,
it was good. I don't know. What do you think of the whole show altogether?
The whole show. Yeah. Everything. I really liked it. I think it's very clear they did not have or were given a plan for the whole thing. No. But for what they had to do and get through, there's obviously bumps, some much more noticeable than others, but it's it's an impressive show. And I don't like it as much as Avatar, but there are points that I do like just as much, if not a little bit more
than a good wine, it aged better over time.
Yeah, while they were making it, though.
Yeah, the first season I still stand by as for what it was, and you have one shot at this, one season, and you're done. I thought it was fine. The ending, the last 5 minutes could have been better, but I thought it was a really strong season. And then, Nickelodeon's dicking it around.
The second season, I still stand by, has the best characters, though, outside of the villain.
We had 3 seasons of Nickelodeon dicking them around, and I'm amazed it came out as well as it did. I'm actually blown away that these guys kept it together despite all the corporate, tooling, trying to destroy it. So, and yeah, it was a bumpy ride. I think second season was definitely weakest as they were trying to rewrite this from the ground up. Seems like second season to me probably should have been the first. And
but like I said, second season also has, in my opinion, like the most memorable people. So it's like I can't be that angry. It has like one of the most memorable climaxes too. It's like and the origin story. So it's like as bumpy as the second season was, it has some of the most memorable stuff.
I don't remember Unalaq that well. I remember
not the villain. I'm talking about the twins. I'm talking about Varric and Julie. I'm talking about the twins.
But Varric and Julie were throughout the whole thing. So
no, they weren't in the first season.
No, I mean okay, from second season on.
That's what I'm saying. Second season introduced
it introduced
the best characters.
But the story itself was also a train wreck. Like it just went, and it came together very nicely at the end. And then I'd say third season. By third season, they were getting it together. Like okay, I think we know where we're going with this. And fourth season, I just think this is about as close as Pitch Perfect as I think it gets. Like this is my favorite
the best season. Mine too.
And also where they did the most with Korra herself. Like everything we had talked about, where you need consequences for her actions, you need her to go through a spiritual journey and this and that. They did it, and they did it well. So way to go out on top, despite everything Nickelodeon has done to stop them from doing it. Way to go out on top.
And you got the first bisexual main character in a kid show. So I mean, it's like to come out on top and like make history.
Mako is amazing. Oh, we're talking about Korra, sorry.
Well, he could be, who knows? But no, the fact that they not only do they come out on top, but they also pretty much make history with this show, that's wonderful. Just hats off, man. Nicely done. So
I enjoyed it. I'm glad it's done. I feel like at 4 seasons we've had our fill.
Well, and no break in between the third and fourth. It just went right.
I think that's part of it. I'm like, I didn't feel exhausted after Avatar, the original show. This one, I'm like, I'm getting a little fatigue here, and I don't think that's on the creators. I think that's on the fact that like there was no break, so I couldn't like take a breather, and I was like, oh my god, we're still going with this. So, but it's
good to be done, but I'm really glad that we got through it all and enjoyed it.
And I think too, it also made me a little fatigued just because it was so suspenseful, particularly at the end. Like I didn't realize that during the robot fight, I was actually gritting my teeth a bit until I sort of yawned, and I'm like, oh, it's like this is really intense. I did the one scene I actually liked in The Hobbit was when Smaug attacks the city. I did the same thing. My wife was just like, you're squeezing my hand really hard. I'm like, oh. I'm like, it just was like such an intense scene. I'm just like, yeah. So
cool.
Very good.
In terms of our vlog shows, we're obviously doing Gravity Falls. After that, like
filming those right after this.
Yeah. I mean, after that, we're not actively looking. Kind of like what we said with the last.
I think we should do.
If something comes up, we'll do it.
I think we're gonna do the Gravity Falls shorts.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Enough people keep asking us. I say we do that, and
they're short, obviously. So why not?
Yeah, we'll fill in some of the gaps of that. And I think we should do Over the Garden Wall at some point.
Yeah, actually, I haven't seen that yet, but everyone's telling me it's really good. But that's like a movie, right?
It's like 8 episodes, so it's a minis, but something we could toss off quickly.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know it was like an 8-episode thing.
I started out every morning
everyone's telling me to review that.
You like Gravity Falls? Do it! I'm like, okay, leave me alone. It's Christmas. And I need coffee.
So, cool. We're gonna get some coffee, and we'll see you next vlog. Take care.
Cheers.
Appa, did you know she was bi?
I had my thoughts. By the way, I'm bi.
Get to your fanfiction.